Hola, me llamo Miguel. Fresh little fade. Makes me a bit more streamlined. I'll go about 2 or 3 kilometers an hour faster when I get a cut. Alrighty, ready. I need to talk about I statements today. This is another communication technique, particularly around conflict and being able to discuss certain things with your partner or friends, family, colleagues, your interpersonal relationships essentially. But it's around the way in which you express frustrations or express the way that you're feeling, I guess. So what tends to happen a lot, and what I used to do especially as well in our relationship, is you tend to accuse other people of what they are or are not doing, as opposed to explaining how that behavior is making you feel. So what's very common is that you would say to somebody, you always do that, you always make me feel that way, you always try and hurt me, you always say nasty things about me, you always do this, which is an unhealthy thing to do, right? Because what you're doing with that is accusing them of a behavior that they do, and that is not something that's particularly nice to receive. Generally that can feel like attack or criticism, and as we've spoken about before, especially in regards to defensiveness and stonewalling, that can induce that type of behavior, because when you're attacking them, it's not nice, and you don't want to talk, or you start getting defensive and whatever else it might be. So a better way in which to approach that is to start with an I feel statement. What you're doing there is talking about your emotions and your feelings, letting them know that the behavior that they're displaying has this particular type of effect on you. And it's not I feel that you always, because then it's still not about your emotions. You're still accusing somebody of what they're doing, of a behavior that they're displaying that you don't like. So for example, what you could say is, I feel hurt when you use these type of words, or when you say these types of things about me. So what you're doing there is you're explaining that it hurts you when they use that language. What you could have said, which is not the right way to go about it, is, you're always trying to put me down, you're always saying nasty things about me. Change that, flip it around, and express how you feel. I feel hurt, I feel hard done by, I feel attacked when you use those words, or when you say these things about me. So what you're doing then as well, by explaining your feelings, it allows the other person to better understand where you're coming from, so that they can then address that moving forward as well, as opposed to them feeling then hurt and attacked because you've criticized or said, you always do this, you always do that, you prick. Because they're then feeling hurt, they're not going to potentially pay attention to what it is, the message that you were trying to get across. Whereas if you explain your emotion attached to what it is that they're doing, then they can better understand it, and they'll hopefully have a better way to then approach it moving forward, because they know exactly what it is that they're doing that's hurting you, that's affecting you emotionally. It needs to be about what is the behavior that they're displaying doing to you emotionally. How is it affecting you and your feelings? It's not accusing them. And it's best, generally this is, as I said at the start, this is generally about dealing with conflict. If you're having an argument and your wife or your husband or your friend or your colleague or whatever is kicking off with you, you prick, look at that, there's butter, you've stabbed it and there's a big hole in the middle of it, I don't know why you don't just spread it off the side like normal people, you always fuck it up. That's a really weird example. That's not what happens in my life. I don't stab the butter, so we've never had that argument before anyone gets it twisted. But in that situation where somebody's kicking off with you, you don't want to be dealing with that conflict there and then with that I feel statement. The I feel statement is generally best saved for a particular time that you've agreed to discuss certain frustrations or things that are going on in your relationship with whoever it might be. So generally it's best to address in a like a marriage or husband, in a marriage or that type of relationship with your spouse. A spousal relationship is what I was trying to say. In that type of situation, it's best, we've been told that it's best to approach those sorts of things on a weekly basis, so you can address any sort of issues that might have affected you the week before, let your spouse know how that affected you, how it makes you feel, whatever it might be. And when doing that as well, actually, it's best to, if you're the one delivering the frustration, the other person is best to just not speak and not try and address it. You're not trying to deal with it, you're just letting the other one know how you feel about it, so it's not to be dealt with there and then. Understanding, if you know how your spouse feels about something, as I've already alluded to, you can start to hopefully not do or display the behaviors that were hurting them in the first place. And that comes from discussing it on a weekly basis, so you even know where that's coming from. Hopefully that gives you an idea on how you can share your emotions and let the other person know how you're feeling and whatever else. I statements, make it about you and how you feel. This is a time to be selfish, just because you need to be talking about your emotions. It is about you. It's all about you in that circumstance, in a way. So don't be afraid to share how you feel. It's the best option. It works out well. Relationships are built on strong and healthy communication. So understand how to communicate with your spouse, and it will stand to benefit you in many different ways. So, thank you very much for listening, and I will speak to you next time. Okay, I'm checking out. I like the way last time when I do a salute, my video logo at the end go. So I'm going to do it again. Goodbye.